You look good in this attire. Are you married?
Let go of me!
Ma'am, you need to come with me.
No! I'm not going anywhere with you!
The first time Amara saw blood on her mother's pillow, she didn't tell anyone. She was 14. Her mother had been coughing for 3 weeks, the kind that rattled the thin walls of their one-room apartment in Lagos. That morning, Amara found the pillowcase while her mother was at the market. Small rust-colored stains that hadn't been there the night before. She washed it by hand in the bathroom sink, scrubbing until her knuckles burned. Then she hung it in the sun and went to school like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. Her mother, Chidinma, sold vegetables at the Aja market. She woke at 4 a.m. and came home after dark, smelling like tomatoes and exhaustion. She never complained. She never sat down until Amara was fed. And now she was coughing blood into pillowcases that her daughter had to wash in secret. Amara knew they couldn't afford a hospital. They could barely afford rice. So she did what she always did, she studied. She studied until her eyes hurt, until the words blurred, until her scholarship exam scores were high enough that the universe might take pity on them. She studied because it was the only weapon she had against the life that was trying to crush them both. 3 years later, the universe answered. Not with pity, with a chain. The acceptance letter came from Yonsei University in Seoul. Full scholarship, international student program, room and board included. Her mother cried when she opened it. Not sad tears, proud ones, the kind that made Amara feel like she just won a war she didn't know she was fighting. You're going to be something? Her mother whispered, holding her face between rough palms. You're going to be more than this. Amara didn't want to leave. Her mother's cough had gotten worse. But Chidinma wouldn't hear it. You go, she said. You go and you don't look back. So Amara went. She arrived in Seoul in September, when the air was cold enough to hurt her lungs. The city was clean and fast and utterly indifferent to her existence. She shared a dormitory room with 3 other international students, 2 from Vietnam, 1 from the Philippines. They were kind but distant, busy with their own survival. Amara worked 2 part-time jobs, one at a convenience store near campus, the other cleaning offices at night. She sent most of her earnings back to Lagos, keeping just enough to eat. She didn't make friends. She didn't have time. But she noticed him. Everyone noticed him. His name was Kang Min-jun, and he moved through the world like someone who had never been told no. Tall, sharp-featured, with the kind of careless confidence that only money could buy. He was a business major. His family owned half the hotels in Gangnam. He drove a car that cost more than Amara would earn in 10 years. She hated him on sight. Not because he was rich, because he was careless. She watched him laugh in the library, throw away full meals in the cafeteria, show up late to lectures like the professor should be grateful he came at all. People orbited him. Girls whispered when he passed. Guys tried to sit near him, hoping some of that golden light would rub off. Amara kept her head down and stayed invisible. Until the day she wasn't. It happened in October during midterms. She was shelving books at the campus library, her 3rd job, because her mother's medicine cost more now, when she heard voices in the next aisle. I'm serious, a girl was saying. He asked me out. Min-jun? Another voice, high-pitched with disbelief. Yes, we're going to dinner tomorrow. You're lying. I'm not. He said I was different. Amara rolled her eyes and kept working. She didn't care about Kang Min-jun or whoever he was stringing along this week. But then she heard something that made her stop. Did you finish the economics paper?
No.
But Min-jun said he'd handle it. A pause. Handle it? He's paying someone to write it. He always does. Laughter. Light, easy, like cheating was just another word for clever. Amara's hands tightened on the book she was holding. She thought about the nights she'd stayed awake writing her own essays, the way her eyes burned from staring at her laptop screen in the dark while her roommates slept. She thought about her mother's cough, about the cost of every single word she wrote. And she thought about boys like Kang Min-jun who bought their grades like they bought everything else. She told herself to let it go. She didn't. 2 days later, She was walking past the administration building when she saw him coming out, laughing with two other guys. One of them clapped him on the shoulder. "You're set, man." Professor Kim loved it.
Min-jun grinned.
"Told you. Money talks." Amara's feet moved before her brain caught up. "Excuse me." He turned. All three of them did. Min-jun's eyes swept over her. A quick, dismissive glance. He didn't recognize her. Why would he? "Yeah?" he said. "You paid someone to write your paper." The smile slipped off his face. His friends went quiet. "What?" "Your economics paper. You didn't write it." His expression shifted, confusion, then irritation. "Who the hell are you? Does it matter?" "Yeah, actually, it does." He stepped closer. Not threatening, just entitled, like she was wasting his time. "You got a problem?" "I have a problem with cheaters." One of his friends laughed nervously. "Dude, she's crazy. Let's go." But Min-jun didn't move. He stared at her, really looked at her this time. His jaw tightened. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know exactly what I'm talking about." "Then prove it." She couldn't. She had no proof, just overheard gossip and her own anger. And he knew it. She could see it in his eyes, the way they narrowed with something close to amusement. "That's what I thought," he said. "Next time, mind your business." He walked past her, shoulder brushing hers, and she stood there shaking with a rage she didn't know she was capable of. She should have let it go. But people like Amara didn't survive by letting things go. She spent the next week digging. She asked questions. She watched. She learned that Min-jun had a guy, a grad student named Park, who wrote papers for cash. She learned that half the business department knew about it, but nobody cared because Min-jun's family donated enough money to build a whole new library wing. She learned that the system was rigged, and that people like her were supposed to smile and stay quiet. So she went to the dean. She brought everything, names, dates, transaction records she'd found on a careless email thread. She laid it out like evidence in a trial, and she waited for justice. The dean listened. He nodded. He thanked her for her concern. And then nothing happened. A week passed. Then two. Min-jun kept going to class. Park kept writing papers. The world kept spinning like Amara hadn't just tried to set it on fire. She was in the library when he found her. "You've got guts," Min-jun said, sliding into the chair across from her. "I'll give you that." She didn't look up from her book. "Get away from me." "The dean called me into his office yesterday." Her heart lurched. "Finally. He showed me your little report. Very thorough." Min-jun leaned back, arms crossed. "My father made a phone call. It's gone now. All of it." Amara's hands went cold. "You're angry," he continued. "I get it. Life's unfair. But here's the thing, you can't win this. You know why?" She still didn't look at him. "Because people like you don't beat people like me. That's just how the world works." Finally, she raised her eyes. He was smiling. Not cruel, just certain. "You're wrong," she said quietly. "Am I?" "Yes." He laughed. "We'll see." He stood up, adjusted his jacket, and walked away. Amara sat there for a long time, staring at nothing. She thought about her mother's pillowcase, about blood and silence and things you can't wash away. And she made a decision. If the system wouldn't give her justice, she'd make her own. 3 months passed. Amara didn't report him again. She didn't confront him. She became a ghost, present but unseen, watching from the corners of lecture halls and cafeterias. She learned his schedule, where he ate lunch, which coffee shop he studied at, who his friends were, who he slept with and discarded. She wasn't stalking him. She was studying him, the way you study an opponent before a fight. But somewhere in all that watching, something shifted. She started noticing things she didn't want to notice, like the way he stayed late in the library sometimes actually reading, the way he helped an older professor carry boxes to her car, the way he sat alone at a table once, staring at his phone with an expression that looked almost tired. She hated that she noticed, because it meant he was human, and humans were harder to hate. It was December when everything changed. She was walking home from her night shift, freezing in her thin jacket, when she heard shouting. Two men. An alley off the main street. One of them was holding someone against the wall. She should have kept walking. But then she heard a voice she recognized. I said I don't have it. Min-jun. She stopped. Your father owes us, one of the men said. You think you can just. My father's debt isn't mine. A fist to the stomach.
Min-jun dobbelt over. Gasping.
Amara's body moved before her mind did. Hey! 3 faces turned toward her. The men looked annoyed.
Min-jun looked shocked.
Walk away, one of the men said. I'm calling the police. She pulled out her phone. She wasn't gonna call. She barely had credit. But they didn't know that. The men looked at each other. Then, with a disgusted sound, they shoved Min-jun to the ground and walked away. Amara waited until they were gone. Then she walked over to where Min-jun was sitting, one hand pressed to his ribs. You okay? He looked up at her. Blood on his lip. Hair messy. For the first time since she'd known him, he looked small. Why did you do that? I don't know, she said honestly. He laughed. A rough, painful sound. You hate me. Yeah. So why help? She thought about it. Because I'm not like you. He stared at her for a long moment. Then he stood up, wincing, and wiped his mouth. Thank you, he said quietly. She nodded and turned to leave. Wait. She stopped. Can I buy you coffee? To say thanks. I don't drink coffee. Tea then. Or food. Whatever. She should have said no. She had a paper due. Her mother needed medicine money. She had no business sitting in a cafe with Kang Min-jun. Fine, she said. But you're paying. His smile was small but real. Deal. They went to a 24-hour diner near campus. It was warm inside, smelling like fried rice and old coffee. They sat in a booth by the window. Min-jun ordered like he was feeding an army. Amara asked for soup. So, he said once the food came, you're the girl who tried to get me expelled. You deserved it. Probably. He picked at his food. But it didn't work. I noticed. You're stubborn. You're a cheater. He smiled. Fair. They ate in silence for a while. Then he asked, why do you care so much? About what? About me cheating. It doesn't affect you. She set down her spoon. You really don't get it, do you? Get what? Some of us don't have a choice. We can't fail. We can't coast. We can't buy second chances. She met his eyes. I work 3 jobs so I can stay here. I send money home every month so my mother can buy medicine. I study until I can't see straight because if I mess up, there's no safety net. No father to make phone calls. No money to fix my problems. She paused. And then I see you. You who could fail every class and still be fine. Who treats this place like a joke. And you're cheating. Like even the easy life you have isn't easy enough. Min-jun was quiet. When he finally spoke, his voice was different. Softer. You're right. She blinked. I'm an asshole, he continued. I've been an asshole my whole life. And I never thought about it because I didn't have to. He looked at her. But you're wrong about one thing. What? I'm not fine. And for just a moment, she saw something in his face. Something broken and hidden and true. Then the moment passed, and he smiled again. But hey, at least I'm a rich asshole, right? She didn't smile back. They finished eating. He paid like he promised. Outside, the street was empty and cold. Thanks again, he said. For earlier. Don't thank me. Just stop being a piece of shit. He laughed. I'll try. She started to walk away. Amara. She turned. She hadn't told him her name. How do you? I asked around. After you reported me. He shrugged. I wanted to know who was trying to ruin my life. And you're interesting. Is that supposed to be a compliment? I think so. She shook her head and walked away, but she felt his eyes on her back the whole way down the street. After that night, Min-jun wouldn't leave her alone. Not in an aggressive way. Worse, in a persistent, almost puppy-like way that made it impossible to ignore him. He started showing up at the library during her shifts. He'd sit at a table in her section, actually studying, occasionally looking up to catch her eye. When she ignored him, he'd leave books on her cart with sticky notes inside. Page 47 is wrong. The author's an idiot. This one made me think of you. Not sure why. Coffee?
Der.
Soup?
I'm buying.
She threw most of them away, but she kept a few. She told herself she didn't know why. Her roommate noticed. Who's the guy? Lin asked one evening, watching Amara read one of the notes. Nobody. Nobody leaves that many notes for nobody. He's just persistent. He's cute. Amara looked up sharply. You don't even know what he looks like.
Lin grinned.
So he is cute. Drop it. But Lin was right. Min-jun was objectively handsome, the kind of handsome that didn't need effort. And that was exactly the problem. Beautiful things had always been dangerous in Amara's world. They distracted you, made you forget that survival wasn't about butterflies and warm feelings. It was about keeping your head down and your guard up. Still, when he showed up at the convenience store where she worked night shifts, she didn't send him away. You're stalking me, she said, scanning a customer's items without looking at him. I prefer showing interest. It's creepy. Is it working?
No.
He smiled. Liar. The customer paid and left. The store was empty except for them and the fluorescent lights humming overhead. Min-jun leaned against the counter. When do you get off? 2 a.m. That's late. I know. It's not safe. Walking home alone at that hour. I've been doing it for months. Doesn't make it safe. She finally looked at him. What do you want? To walk you home. Why? Because I want to. That's not a reason. It's the only reason I have. She studied his face. He looked sincere, which somehow made it worse. I don't need your help, she said. I know. So why are you here? He was quiet for a moment. Then, because you're the first person in a long time who's treated me like I'm not just a wallet with legs. She hadn't expected honesty. It disarmed her. That's pathetic, she said. But there was no heat in it. Yeah, he agreed. It is. When her shift ended, he was still there, waiting outside in the cold, hands in his pockets, breath coming out in small clouds. You're an idiot, she said. I've been told. They walked together through empty streets. Seoul at 2 a.m. was a different city. Quieter, sharper, like it had taken off its makeup and revealed something raw underneath. Can I ask you something?
Min-jun said.
Depends. Why do you work so hard? Because I have to. No, I mean, why here? Why Korea? You could have gone somewhere closer to home. She was quiet for a long time. The only sound was their footsteps on the pavement. My mother is sick, she finally said. She's been sick for years. The scholarship here, it came with a stipend. Enough to send money back every month. Enough to keep her alive. What's wrong with her? Tuberculosis. Advanced. She didn't get treatment early because we couldn't afford it.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything. He nodded. They walked in silence for another block. My father is a piece of shit, Min-jun said suddenly. She glanced at him. Everyone thinks he's this successful businessman. Hotels, real estate, all that. He laughed bitterly. But he's drowning in debt. He borrows from dangerous people and he never pays them back. He just moves the pieces around. Makes it someone else's problem. The men in the alley. Yeah. Is that why you are the way you are? Careless. He thought about it. Maybe. When nothing feels real, why pretend it matters? That's a coward's answer. I know. They reached her dormitory. She stopped at the gate. Thanks for walking me, she said. Amara. What? Can I see you again? You'll see me at school. You know what I mean. She did. And that was the problem. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Because you're rich and I'm not. Because your world and mine don't touch. Because I can't afford distractions. Because you'll hurt me and I won't recover. Because, she said. He smiled sadly. That's not a reason. It's the only one I have. She went inside without looking back. But through the glass doors, she saw him standing there for a long time, hands in his pockets, watching the place where she'd disappeared. The next day, her mother called. Amara answered on the second ring, stepping out of class into the hallway.
Mga.
Her mother's voice was thin, stretched tight with pain. Amara, what's wrong? What happened? The medicine. They increased the price. I don't have enough. Amara's chest tightened. How much? Her mother told her. It was more than Amara made in a month, even with all 3 jobs. I'll figure it out, Amara said, trying to keep her voice steady. I'll send it. Just hold on, okay? Amara, you don't have to. I'll send it. I promise. She hung up and stood there in the empty hallway, staring at nothing. She did the math in her head. Even if she worked every shift available, even if she didn't eat, even if she somehow found a 4th job, it wouldn't be enough. Her mother was going to die because Amara couldn't make enough money fast enough. She slid down the wall and sat on the floor, arms wrapped around her knees. She didn't cry. She'd learned a long time ago that crying didn't solve problems. But she wanted to. That evening, Min-jun found her at the library. She was sitting in the back corner, staring at her laptop screen without seeing it. Hey, he said softly, sliding into the seat across from her. She didn't respond. Amara, go away. What happened? Nothing. Just go away. But he didn't. He sat there, patient and quiet, until finally she looked up. Her eyes were dry but desperate. How much money do you have? She asked. He blinked. What? In your account. Right now. How much? I don't know. I don't really check. She laughed. A hollow, bitter sound. Of course you don't. Amara, what's going on? And maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was because he was there and she had nobody else. But she told him. Everything. Her mother's TB. The cost of medicine. The impossible math. The fact that she was watching her mother die in slow motion and there was nothing she could do about it. When she finished, Min-jun was quiet. Then he pulled out his phone. What are you doing? She asked. How much do you need? What? How much? For the medicine.
Min-jun. Enu.
How much? She told him. He typed something into his phone. A few seconds later, he showed her the screen. Transfer complete. She stared at it. What did you just do? Sent the money. To you. You can send it to your mother. I can't accept this. You already did. It's done.
Min-jun.
Don't. He put his phone away. Don't say you'll pay me back. Don't say thank you. Don't make this complicated. Why would you do this? He looked at her. Really looked at her with those dark eyes that seemed too old for his face. Because I can, he said simply. And you need it. That's all. She felt something crack open in her chest. Something that had been sealed shut for years. I don't understand you, she whispered. Good, he said. I don't understand me either. She sent the money to her mother that night. And when her mother called crying with relief, Amara cried too. Quietly, with her face buried in her pillow so her roommates wouldn't hear. After that, something changed between them. Amara stopped avoiding him. They started having coffee together between classes. Real coffee, not the cheap instant kind. He bought, she let him. She learned things about him. That he played piano. That he hated his father but loved his mother, who died when he was 12. That he was scared of being alone. That he used money like a shield because it was the only thing he knew how to trust. He learned things about her. That she liked mathematics because numbers didn't lie. That she missed the sound of rain on metal roofs. That she called her mother every Sunday at 6 p.m. without fail. That she was terrified of failing because failure meant death. They didn't talk about what was happening between them. That would make it real. But it was already real. She felt it in the way he looked at her. In the way she started checking her phone for his texts. In the way her chest tightened when he smiled. Terrified her. Because people like her didn't get to have people like him. That wasn't how the world worked. It was January when she met Ji-woo. Min-jun had invited her to a party. Some rich kid gathering at someone's penthouse apartment. She'd said no 3 times before finally agreeing, mostly because he'd looked so hopeful. The party was exactly what she'd expected. Expensive clothes, expensive alcohol, expensive people pretending they weren't bored. She felt like an alien. She was standing by the window trying to disappear when a woman approached her. She was beautiful in that effortless way. Long black hair, designer dress, smile like a knife. "You must be Amara," the woman said. "Do I know you?"
Ivo. Min-jun's ex-girlfriend.
"Ah, nice to meet you," Amara said neutrally.
Ivo's smile sharpened.
"Is it? Excuse me. I've heard about you. The scholarship girl. The charity case." Ji-woo tilted her head. "You must be very grateful to him." Amara's jaw tightened. "I should go. Does he know?" "Know what? That you're just using him. For money. For status. For whatever it is girls like you use boys like him for." Amara turned to face her fully. "You don't know anything about me. I know enough. I know you come from nothing. I know you're desperate. And I know that when he gets bored, and he will, you'll be left with nothing again. Is that what happened to you?"
Ivo's smile vanished.
"Careful. Or what?" They stared at each other, tension crackling in the air between them. Then Min-jun appeared. "Ji-woo," he said coldly. "What are you doing?" "Just getting to know your new friend." Ji-woo glanced at Amara. "She's cute. In a scrappy kind of way." "Leave," Min-jun said. "This is my friend's party. Then I'll leave." He took Amara's hand. "Come on." They left the penthouse together. Outside, the night air was freezing.
"I'm sorry," Min-jun said.
"She's a bitch." He laughed despite himself. "Yeah. Why did you date her?" "Because she was there. Because it was easy. Because I didn't know any better." They walked to a nearby park and sat on a bench. The city lights reflected off the frozen pond. "She's right, you know," Amara said quietly. "About what?" "About me using you. You're not." "I took your money, Min-jun. For my mother. I took it and I didn't even hesitate. I offered. That doesn't make it okay." "Why not?" "Because now I owe you." "You don't owe me anything. That's not how the world works." "Then fuck how the world works." He turned to face her. "You want to know why I gave you the money? Because I wanted to. Because seeing you in pain hurt me. Because for the first time in my useless life, I could actually help someone who mattered."
Min-jun.
"I'm falling for you, Amara." The words hung in the cold air between them. "Don't," she whispered. "Too late. This is a mistake. Probably. We're from different worlds. I don't care. You will. Eventually. Then I'll deal with it eventually." He reached for her hand. "But right now, in this moment, I don't care about worlds or money or any of it. I just care about you." She should have pulled away. Should have stood up and walked away and never looked back. Instead, she kissed him. It was desperate and messy and tasted like mistakes. But it was real. So painfully, terrifyingly real. When they finally broke apart, she was crying. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Me too. This is going to hurt." "I know." "Then why?" He smiled sadly. "Because some things are worth the pain." They sat there holding each other while the world spun on, cold and indifferent, around them. Neither of them saw Ji-woo watching from across the street, phone in hand, already planning her revenge. For a while they were happy. It was a fragile, stolen kind of happiness, built on borrowed time and ignored warning signs. But it was theirs. Min-jun stopped going to parties, started actually attending classes, even wrote his own papers, though Amara had to check them for plagiarism just to be sure. "I'm a reformed man," he'd joke. "You're barely reformed," she'd reply. But she was smiling when she said it. Her mother's health stabilized. The medicine was working. For the first time in years, Chidinma's voice on the phone sounded strong. "You sound happy," her mother said one Sunday. "I am." "Is there a boy?" Amara hesitated. "Maybe." Her mother laughed. A real laugh. not the careful half-breath she'd been using for years. Tell me about him. He's complicated. All good men are. He's rich, Mama. Really rich. And I don't know if this is real, or if I'm just convenient. Does he treat you well? Amara thought about it. About the way Min-jun remembered how she took her tea. About how he'd started learning Igbo phrases to surprise her. About the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the room. Yes, she said quietly. Then the rest is just noise. But the noise was getting louder. Jiwoo didn't attack directly. She was smarter than that. Instead, she planted seeds. Comment here. A rumor there. Whispers in the right ears about the poor girl who'd trapped Min-jun with her sad story. About how she was probably pregnant. About how his father would never accept it. The rumors spread like oil on water. Amara started noticing the looks. The whispers when she walked past groups of students. Someone left a note in her locker. Gold digger. She threw it away and said nothing. She'd survived worse. But then the university started asking questions. A financial aid counselor called her in. Asked about additional income sources. Asked if she was being supported by anyone. Why? Amara asked, defensive. We've received complaints. About your eligibility for scholarship funds. Complaints from who? I can't disclose that. This is ridiculous. I work 3 jobs. And yet you were recently seen at high-end establishments. Wearing expensive clothes. Those aren't mine. I borrowed them. From whom? A friend. We'll need documentation. Amara left the office shaking with rage. She knew exactly who had made the complaint. That evening, she confronted Min-jun. Did you buy me anything expensive? Anything I don't know about? He looked confused. What? No. Why? The university thinks I'm being financially supported. They're threatening my scholarship. His face darkened.
Yivoo.
You think. I know. She's done this before. To another girl I dated. And you didn't think to warn me? I didn't think she'd go this far. Of course she would. I'm a threat. I'm everything she's not. Amara.
No.
This is my life, Min-jun. My future. I can't lose this scholarship. You won't. I'll fix it. How? I'll talk to her. I'll make her stop. And if she doesn't? He didn't have an answer. But it got worse. 2 days later, Amara received a call from home. It was her mother's neighbor. You need to come back, the woman said. Your mother collapsed. The world tilted. What? The medicine stopped working. She's in the hospital. It's bad. Amara couldn't breathe. How bad? The woman was crying. Just come home. Amara booked the first flight she could afford. It left in 2 days. She withdrew everything from her bank account. It wasn't enough for both the flight and the hospital bills, but it would have to be. She didn't tell Min-jun. Not at first. But he figured it out when he found her packing. What are you doing? Going home. Why? She told him. He immediately pulled out his phone. I'll buy you a ticket for tonight. First class.
No.
Amara. I said no. Why not? Because I can't keep taking from you. This is your mother. I know. She was crying now, angry and scared and desperate. I know. And that's exactly why I can't. Because every time I take something from you, I lose a piece of myself. And I don't have many pieces left. He stared at her. So you'd rather let her die than accept my help? That's not fair. None of this is fair. They stood there, both breathing hard, the space between them suddenly miles wide.
I'm sorry, Amara whispered.
But I have to do this myself. Why? Why do you have to do everything alone? Because that's who I am.
No.
That's who you think you have to be. She picked up her bag. I have to go. When will you be back? I don't know. Amara. She kissed him, quick and desperate. I love you, she said. But I can't let you save me. She left before he could respond. If this story touches you and you're rooting for completion, please subscribe, like and share. Comment your insights and tell us where you're watching from. Lagos swallowed her whole. The heat hit her like a wall when she stepped off the plane. Thick, humid, familiar. The smell of exhaust and frying plantains. The chaos of traffic and hawkers shouting their wares. Home. But it didn't feel like home anymore. She took a taxi to the hospital, watching the city blur past through dirty windows. Everything looked smaller than she remembered. Grayer. Like someone had turned down the saturation while she was gone. The hospital was worse. Crumbling walls. Flickering lights. The smell of disinfectant trying and failing to cover decay. Patients on gurneys in hallways because there weren't enough rooms. Nurses moving with the exhausted efficiency of people who'd seen too much death. She found her mother in a shared room with 3 other patients. Chidinma was barely recognizable. She'd lost at least 20 pounds. Her skin was ashen, stretched tight over bones. Her breathing was shallow and wet, each inhale sounding like it might be the last. "Mama," Amara whispered, taking her hand. Her mother's eyes fluttered open. Recognition came slowly, like surfacing from deep water. "Amara, I'm here. I'm here now." Her mother tried to smile. "You came back." "Of course I came back. School. School can wait." A nurse appeared, middle-aged woman with kind eyes and tired shoulders. "Are you the daughter?" "Yes. We need to talk." They stepped outside. The hallway smelled like bleach and hopelessness. "Your mother needs specialized treatment," the nurse said. "The TB has spread to her spine. She needs surgery. Medications we don't have here." "How much?" The nurse told her. The number was impossible. Even if Amara sold everything she owned, worked for a year straight, it wouldn't be enough. "Without treatment?" Amara asked, though she already knew. "Weeks. Maybe days." Amara nodded slowly. "Can I have a moment?" "Of course." The nurse walked away. Amara stood in the hallway, surrounded by suffering, and felt something inside her finally break. She pulled out her phone.
Start a Minjun's number.
One call. That's all it would take. One call and he'd send the money. She knew he would. But then what? She'd be his forever. Bound by debt and gratitude and the knowledge that her mother only lived because of his money. She'd never be equal. Never be free. She put the phone away. There had to be another way. She spent the next 2 days trying to find one. She went to banks. They laughed at her loan application. She went to her mother's old church. They took up a collection. It was kind, but not nearly enough. She asked relatives. Most had their own problems. The few who didn't gave what they could, which was almost nothing. On the 3rd day, she was sitting in the hospital cafeteria, staring at her empty bank account on her phone, when someone sat down across from her. A man, mid-40s, expensive suit that looked wrong in this place. "Amara, is it?" She looked up. "Do I know you?"
No.
"But I know you." He smiled. "My name is Mr. Park. I'm a business associate of Kang Min-jun's father." Ice flooded her veins. "What do you want?" "To help you." "I don't need your help. Your mother is dying. That's none of your business. But it is Min-jun's business. And Min-jun's business is my business." He pulled out an envelope and placed it on the table. "Inside is a check. Enough to cover your mother's treatment. Surgery. Medicine. Everything." Amara stared at it like it was a snake. "What's the catch?" "Smart girl." Mr. Park leaned back. "The catch is simple. You take the money, you save your mother, and you leave Min-jun alone." "He sent you?"
No.
"His father did." "Why?" "Because you're a distraction. Min-jun has responsibilities. Obligations. A marriage arrangement with Jiwoo's family that would solve certain financial problems. But he won't honor it while you're in the picture." "Marriage arrangement?" "His father owes money. A lot of money. To very bad people. The marriage would consolidate debts, merge families, solve everything." Mr. Park tapped the envelope. "Or you could take this money, save your mother, and let Min-jun do what he needs to do. This is blackmail. This is business. And if I say no, then your mother dies, and Min-jun's father's debts come due. Those men you saw in the alley, they were being polite. Next time they won't be. Amara's hands were shaking. He doesn't know about this.
No.
And he doesn't need to. You go back to Korea, you tell him it's over, you invent whatever reason you want. He'll be hurt, but he'll move on. They always do. You're a monster.
I'm practical.
Mr. Park stood up. You have 24 hours to decide. After that, the offer expires. He left the envelope on the table and walked away. Amara sat there for a long time, staring at it. That night, she called Min-jun. It was 3 a.m. in Korea. He answered on the first ring. Amara? Are you okay? Just hearing his voice made her chest ache. I need to tell you something. What's wrong? Is it your mother?
Min-jun.
She closed her eyes. I can't do this anymore. Silence. Can't do what? This, whatever this is. What are you talking about? I've been thinking. And I can't be with you. Is this about the money? Because I told you. It's not about the money. It's about everything. We're too different. It was stupid to think this could work. Amara, you're not making sense. I'm making perfect sense. You're rich. I'm poor. You have a future handed to you. I have to fight for every scrap. We were never going to work. That's not true. It is. And I'm tired of pretending. What happened? Did someone say something to you? Nobody said anything. I woke up. This is reality, Min-jun. You go back to your world. I stay in mine. I don't believe you. You don't have to believe me. Amara, please. I have to go. Don't do this.
I'm sorry.
She hung up. He called back immediately. She didn't answer. He called 17 more times. She turned off her phone. Then she sat on the floor of her childhood home, in the dark, and cried until she couldn't breathe. The next morning, she took the money. The check was certified, legitimate. She deposited it and paid for everything: surgery, medications, a private room, proper care. Her mother's surgery happened 2 days later. It went well. The doctors were optimistic. Chidinma woke up asking for her daughter. It's done, Amara told her, holding her hand. You're going to be okay. How? Don't worry about how. Just rest. Amara. I'm here, Mama. I'm not going anywhere. But that was a lie. She had to go back to Korea. Her student visa required it. She'd already missed a week of classes. She booked a flight for the following week, once her mother was stable enough. On her last night in Lagos, her mother called her to the bedside. Tell me the truth, Chidinma said. Where did the money come from? Amara couldn't lie to her. Someone who wanted me to give up something in return. The boy. Yes. Her mother was quiet for a long time. And you gave him up? I had to. Did you? What choice did I have? There's always a choice, my daughter. Not for people like us. Her mother's eyes were sad. You saved my life. But what did it cost you? Amara didn't answer. She didn't need to. She returned to Seoul in February. The city was colder than she remembered. Or maybe she was just colder inside. She avoided Min-jun completely, changed her schedule, stopped going to the library, ate lunch in different places. When she saw him across campus, she turned and walked the other way. He tried to talk to her, left messages, waited outside her dorm. She ignored all of it. After 2 weeks, he stopped trying. She told herself it was better this way, cleaner, less painful in the long run. But every night, she lay awake remembering the way he'd looked at her, the way he'd made her laugh, the way he'd made her believe, just for a moment, that she could have something good. She threw herself into work, picked up extra shifts, studied until her eyes burned. She became a ghost again, invisible, safe. It was Jiwoo who finally found her. Amara was leaving the convenience store after a night shift when a black car pulled up beside her. The window rolled down. Get in, Jiwoo said.
No.
I'm not asking. And I'm not interested. I know about the money, about Mr. Park, about everything. Amara froze.
Yivo smiled.
Get in the car, Amara. We need to talk. Against every instinct, Amara got in. They drove to a quiet park overlooking the Han River. The city sparkled below them, cold and distant. You took the money, Jiwoo said. Smart. What do you want? To thank you. You made this so much easier. Made what easier? Getting Min-jun back. The engagement is official now. We're getting married in June. Something twisted in Amara's chest. Congratulations. Don't be bitter. You got what you wanted, your mother is alive. Min-jun gets what he needs, his family's debts cleared. And I get what I deserve, him. If he wanted you, you wouldn't need his father's debts to trap him.
Ivo es smile hardened.
Careful. Or what? You'll take more from me? You already took everything. I took nothing. You gave it up. You chose your mother over him. I chose to keep him alive. Those men weren't going to stop. His father's debts are paid by my family, which is the only reason Min-jun isn't dead in an alley somewhere.
Ivo leaned closer.
So really, you should be thanking me. Amara turned away, staring at the river. He's miserable, you know, Jiwoo continued. Barely speaks, barely eats, just goes through the motions. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know. I want you to understand that you broke him. And now I get to pick up the pieces. You're cruel.
I'm honest.
There's a difference. Jiwoo started the car. I'll drive you back. They rode in silence. When they reached Amara's dorm, Jiwoo stopped her before she could get out. One more thing, Jiwoo said. The wedding is in June. I'd invite you, but I think that would be tacky. Amara didn't respond. She got out and walked inside without looking back. But once she was in her room, alone in the dark, she finally let herself fall apart. Spring came. The city bloomed. Cherry blossoms lined the streets like snow. Amara moved through it all like a sleepwalker. Her mother called every week. She was recovering well, gaining weight, talking about the future. Come home when you graduate, Chidinma would say. I'll have recovered by then. I will, Mama. Are you happy? Yes. Another lie. She saw Min-jun sometimes. From a distance. He looked thinner, tired, like someone had dimmed his light. Once, their eyes met across the cafeteria. He looked like he wanted to say something. She looked away first. In April, everything changed again. She was working the convenience store night shift when a man walked in. Not Mr. Park. Someone else. Younger. Dangerous looking. He browsed the aisles slowly, then approached the counter. You're Amara. Who's asking? Someone who knows you took money from the wrong people. Her blood went cold. I don't know what you're talking about. The check. From Mr. Park. That wasn't Park's money. That was ours. Loan money meant for Kang's father. That's not my problem. It is now. He leaned on the counter. Park stole from us to pay you off. He's dead now, which means the debt transfers. I don't owe you anything. You owe us $200,000. Plus interest. The number hit her like a fist. I don't have that kind of money. We know. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to work for us. Do what we say. Until the debt is paid. And if I refuse, then we go after your mother, your little dorm friends, anyone you care about. He smiled. Oh, and we kill Min-jun. Slowly. Because his father's debt is still outstanding too. You're insane. We're practical. You have 3 days to decide. He dropped a burner phone on the counter. We'll call. He left. Amara stood there, shaking. As the world collapsed around her for the second time, she had no one to turn to. The police? These people had killed Mr. Park. They wouldn't hesitate to hurt her.
Min-jun.
She'd broken his heart, and telling him would only put him in more danger. Her mother? Absolutely not. For 3 days she walked around in a daze. The burner phone sat in her pocket like a bomb. On the 3rd day it rang. Yes or no? A voice said. What do you want me to do? There's a man.
A rival.
We need information from him. You're going to get it. How? He has a weakness for pretty girls, especially foreign ones. You seduce him, get into his office, copy his files. I'm not a spy. You are now. You have 1 week. The call ended. Amara sat down on her dorm room floor and tried to think. She could run, but they'd find her. They'd find her mother. She could die, but that wouldn't save anyone. Or she could do what they asked. Play the game. And hope she survived long enough to find a way out. She did what they asked. The man's name was Lee. He owned a tech company, frequented a specific bar on weekends. Amara dressed in clothes she borrowed, put on makeup she didn't own, and became someone else. It was easier than she expected. Lee was arrogant and lonely. He bought her drinks, told her about his business, invited her to his office to see the view. She went. While he poured wine, she copied files from his computer onto a USB drive they'd given her. "You're different from other girls," Lee said, moving closer. "How so?" "You're real." She almost laughed. Nothing about this was real. When his hand touched her arm, she flinched. "Is something wrong?"
No.
"I'm just nervous." He smiled. "Don't be." She got what she needed and left before anything else could happen. She delivered the drive to a drop point they'd specified. The next day, Lee's company was raided by police. He was arrested for embezzlement. Amara realized she'd just helped destroy a man's life. They gave her more assignments. Some were information gathering. Some were deliveries. Once, she had to distract a security guard while someone broke into an office. She told herself she had no choice. She told herself she was protecting people she loved. But every assignment chipped away another piece of her soul. She stopped sleeping, stopped eating properly. Her grades started slipping. Her roommate noticed. "Are you okay?" Lynn asked. "I'm fine." "You don't look fine." I said I'm fine. But she wasn't. She was drowning, and there was no one to pull her out. In May, Min-jun found her. She was leaving the library late one night when he stepped out of the shadows. "We need to talk," he said. "There's nothing to talk about. I know something's wrong." "Nothing's wrong. Don't lie to me." He moved closer. "I've been watching you. You're scared. You're exhausted. Something is happening."
Min-jun, please.
"Tell me." And maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe she was just so tired of carrying everything alone. She told him. Everything. The money. Mr. Park's death. The debt. The assignments. When she finished, Min-jun looked like he'd been gutted. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you'd try to fix it. And you can't. Nobody can." "My father." "Your father is the reason this happened. His debts. His deals. His mess." Min-jun was quiet for a long moment. Then, the engagement.
Toivo.
That was supposed to fix this. "I know. Did you know about it? When you broke up with me?" She hesitated too long. "You did." His voice cracked. "You knew and you didn't tell me. I was trying to protect you. By lying? By pushing me away. By giving you a chance at a life that doesn't end in a gutter somewhere. I didn't want that life. I wanted you." They stood there, both breathing hard, years of pain spilling into the space between them. "We can't go back," Amara whispered.
No.
"But we can go forward." "How?" "Together. We end this. My father's debts. Your debt. All of it." "That's impossible." "Maybe. But we have to try." He took her hands. "Because I can't watch you destroy yourself. And I can't marry Ji-woo knowing you're out here suffering. The wedding. I'll cancel it. They'll kill you. Then we find another way to pay them." His eyes were fierce. "But I'm not losing you again. Not like this." She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. "Okay," she finally said. "Okay." They made a plan. Min-jun would go to his father. Demand answers. Find out exactly how much was owed and to whom. Amara would stall her next assignment. By time, they would meet in 3 days to figure out the next step. But plans made in desperation rarely work. Amara went to deliver a package 2 nights later. Just a simple drop at a warehouse. But when she arrived, there were police everywhere. Someone had tipped them off. She tried to run. They caught her at the gate. "Amara Okafor?" "Yes." You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud. They found the package. Found evidence of her other assignments. Found everything. She was taken to the station. Processed. Put in a cell. She called the only person she could think of.
Min-jun answered immediately.
Amara, I've been arrested. Silence. I need help, she whispered. I'm coming. He showed up with lawyers. Expensive ones. They talked to the police. Reviewed evidence. Made calls. 6 hours later, Amara was released. But not free. The charges are serious. One of the lawyers explained. If this goes to trial, you're looking at years in prison. What are my options? Testify against the organization. Give them names, locations, everything you know. In exchange, the prosecutor will recommend leniency. And if I don't, then you take the full weight of the charges.
Amara looked at Min-jun.
He looked destroyed. If I testify, she said, they'll kill my mother. We can get her protection, the lawyer said. In Nigeria, you can't protect anyone there. Then what do you want to do? She didn't know. Every choice led to pain. Give me a day, she said. I need to think. She spent that night in Min-jun's apartment. He'd insisted. They sat on his couch, not touching. The weight of everything pressing down like concrete. This is my fault, Min-jun said finally. It's not. It is. If we'd never. Don't. She finally looked at him. Don't you dare say you regret this. I don't regret us. I regret what it cost you. I made my choices. You shouldn't have had to. They were quiet for a while. I'm going to testify, Amara said. What? It's the only way. I testify. They go to prison. And her voice broke. I go back to Nigeria. Protect my mother myself. And your scholarship? Gone. The arrest will be enough. They'll revoke it. So that's it? You lose everything. Not everything. My mother lives. You get to marry Ji-woo and save your family. And I. She smiled sadly. I get to know I did the right thing. Eventually. This isn't right.
No.
But it's real.
Min-jun stood up, pacing.
There has to be another way. There isn't. I'll pay them. Whatever they want. With what money? Your family is broke. That's the whole point. Then I'll find it.
Min-jun.
She stood too, grabbing his arms. Stop. Just stop. He looked at her with red-rimmed eyes. I can't lose you, he whispered. You already did. Back when I took that money. We just didn't know it yet. She kissed him. Soft and final. Thank you, she said, for showing me I could be loved. Amara, I have to go. Where? To tell them I'll testify. Before I change my mind. She left his apartment. He didn't follow. Maybe he knew it would only make it harder. She testified 3 weeks later. She gave them everything. Names, locations, patterns. The organization crumbled. Dozens of arrests. In exchange, she got probation and deportation. Her scholarship was revoked. Her student visa canceled. She had 1 week to leave Korea. Min-jun came to see her the day before her flight. They met at the park where they'd first kissed. Felt like a lifetime ago. The wedding is off, he said. What? I told Ji-woo no. Told my father to figure out his own mess. I don't care anymore. Min-jun, you can't. I can. I did. He looked at her. Come with me. What? Don't go back to Nigeria. Come with me. We'll go somewhere else. Somewhere they can't find us. And do what? Run forever. If that's what it takes. She wanted to say yes. Wanted it so badly it physically hurt. I can't, she whispered. My mother needs me. And you need to build a life here. A real one. I don't want a life without you. You'll find one anyway. People like you always do. He was crying now. Actually crying. I love you, he said. I know. I love you too. Then why? Because love isn't enough. Not in this world. Not for people like us. She kissed him one last time. Memorized the feel of his hands in hers. The smell of his cologne. the sound of his breathing. Then she let go.
Goodbye, Min-jun.
She walked away. He didn't call her back. Maybe he knew there was nothing left to say. 2 years later, Amara sat in a small office in Lagos, reviewing grant applications. She worked for an NGO now, helping students from poor families access education funding. Her mother was healthy, living with her, cooking dinner every night. Life was quiet, simple, safe, but empty. She thought about Min-jun sometimes, wondered if he'd moved on, married someone appropriate, forgotten the poor Nigerian girl who'd broken his heart. She hoped so. She really did. Min-jun stood in his father's office, now his office, reviewing financial reports. The family business had stabilized. Debts paid. Contracts signed. He'd done it all himself, piece by piece, refusing any shortcuts. He didn't date, didn't socialize, just worked. People called him cold now. Said he'd changed. They were right. Late at night, he'd pull up photos on his phone. Pictures of her laughing. Her face lit by cheap dorm lights. Her hand in his. He never deleted them. Some wounds don't heal. They just become part of who you are. It was December when she saw the email. Subject: Scholarship Opportunity, Yonsei University. Dear Ms. Okafor, we are pleased to inform you that an anonymous donor has established a scholarship fund specifically for your return to Yonsei University. The fund covers full tuition, housing, and living expenses for the completion of your degree. There are no requirements or obligations attached. If you wish to accept, please respond by January 15th. Amara read it 3 times. Anonymous donor. She knew exactly who it was. Her hands shook as she opened a new email. To email protected. Subject: Re-scholarship. I can't accept this. She hit send. 5 minutes later, a response came. You already did. Everything's arranged. I don't want anything from you. I just want you to finish what you started. You deserve that much. P.S. I'm not asking you to come back to me. I know that ship has sailed. But please, come back for yourself. MJ. Amara sat there, staring at the screen. Outside, rain started falling. The sound on the metal roof, the sound she'd missed so much in Korea. Her mother appeared in the doorway. What's wrong? I don't know. Is it the boy? Yes. Do you love him? That's not the point. It's the only point. Amara looked at her mother. If I go back, there's no guarantee. We might never work. Too much has happened. Then you'll know you tried. And if I stay, then you'll spend the rest of your life wondering. Amara turned back to the computer. She thought about choices, about second chances, about the cost of love and the price of fear. She typed slowly. Thank you. I'll see you in January. She hit send before she could change her mind. She arrived in Seoul on a gray January morning. The city looked the same. Cold, indifferent, beautiful. She told herself she was coming back for school. Just school. But when she walked onto campus and saw him standing by the library, older, thinner, waiting like he'd known she'd come, she knew she'd been lying to herself. They stared at each other across the quad. Neither moved. Then slowly he smiled. Not the careless, golden boy smile from before. Something quieter. Something earned. She walked toward him. Hi, she said when she reached him. This doesn't mean. I know. We have to take it slow. Okay. And I might leave again. I know. And you might realize this was a mistake. I won't. She looked up at him. How do you know? Because I've had 2 years to figure it out. And you're still the only thing that makes sense. She wanted to stay guarded. Wanted to protect herself. But she was so tired of being safe. I'm scared, she admitted. Me too. What if we hurt each other again? Then we'll hurt. And we'll heal. And we'll try again. He held out his hand. She looked at it for a long moment. This boy who'd saved her, destroyed her, loved her, lost her. This is impossible, complicated, beautiful mess of a person. She took his hand. Okay, she whispered. Let's try. They walked into the library together. Hand in hand, Two people who'd learned the hard way that love wasn't about fairy tales or happy endings. It was about choosing someone even when the world said you shouldn't. Even when it cost everything. Even when you weren't sure you'd survive it. They chose each other. And for now, that was enough. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us where you are watching from. Comment your insights, like and share. Watch out for the next